Hi guys, this is Nightmare3464. I'm going to continue reading Love Me Like I Love You as Jack Love Story Chapter 3. I hope you guys enjoy it. I stared at him, my face was blank, as thought of racing through my mind. His gift, a human heart. Yes, the diamond necklace was nice, but a human heart? I guess this is romantic, but sometimes creepy. A human heart, my voice was whispering. It may seem calm, but I was shaking all over in the inside. His smile widened and then he nodded. And a diamond necklace, he reclaimed. He grabbed my hands and pointed them to his chest, his heart. It was beating 5 times a minute. He was really excited, wasn't he? I stared into his mask, his black abyss eyes. Where were his eyes? Did he even have any? Whose heart did you take? I asked as he stepped closer, so now our bodies were touching. I could feel his heart beat now. He was still holding my hands with his between our chests. I breathed slower as I could, as he was so close that we were. His smile now luring to more. His heartwarming smile with his shark teeth. Do you remember that boy? The one who always beat you down, beat you up. John? I froze. Oh my God, you killed him! He pulled back then nodding, holding my hands. He gave me a toothy smile. Yes, I chose the heart of your enemies to give to you. Doesn't that make you happy? I can't stand him seriously hurting you, so I thought maybe I will get rid of him for you. Wouldn't that make you happy? My eyes widened with shock. He killed John for me. Why? His mouth was put into an O. He suddenly cocked his head in a cute way. Wait, cute? What? Why did you kill him for me? He stood there a moment, looking confused. Showing his mouth, he turned into a line of stare, then he lifted it, letting me go. I told you, he was hurting you, Melody. I can't stand when anyone hurts you. So I got rid of all the people that have harmed you in any way. He cupped his hands and holding my chin, then lifting my head up. I still had a shocked look in his face, and I took in what he said. Get rid of all the people who hurt me. Who else has he? Why did you kill my parents then? I asked, feeling my stomach getting tight, and I really didn't even want to think about last night. They made you cry. They always fought with you. My heart stopped. He has seen me that night when me and my parents were fighting. I ran into my room crying. You seen me and my parents' arguments? He nodded and put his head against my forehead. He was very unhappy about that one. Yes, you ran into your room. I saw your tears in your eyes. I couldn't stand seeing you so upset. So I decided to fight them before. So I did the only thing I had to do to keep you safe. Although you still got stuck with your sister, he trailed off as his head lowered and stared to his feet. Letting go of my chin, I felt tears picking up in my eyes, but I ignored them. I felt I was there in silence for a moment between us. Me barely breathing, I opened my mouth. I wanted to speak before I could. The boy threw his arms around me in a hug. In a tight hug. I gasped. Wasn't expecting all of a sudden being pulled into a hug. I could hear his heartbeat as my heart was racing against his chest. I could also feel his body had muscles. He wasn't very built, but not enough to where I could feel some muscle. His head resting on mine, he breathed slightly breaths, suddenly as he wanted to cry. Melody, I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. You're the only person I ever cared about. I can't lose my angel. Please. I could feel his breath on my dark honey brown hair, and his lips met the top of my forehead. I stood frozen. I didn't know what to do or what to say. Come with me, he whispered. I finally blinked out of my frozen and stared over to him. I pulled back in a little shock and surprise. I stared into his eyes. His eyes were a circle of his mask. What? Before he could answer, my phone rang and hit our ears. It was playing I Will Not Fall of my favorite band. It was Mary's ringtone. Both our heads traveled to the phone. Then we looked at each other. He didn't move, so I slowly made my way to the table as he watched me intensely. I picked up my cell phone and pressed the green button to answer it. Melody, thank God, you answered. It was Mary. She sounded like she was crying. I only heard her cry once. It was in the 4th grade which made me concerned. Why was she crying all of a sudden and sounded like she was in a panic? Mary, what's wrong? I asked, speaking over the sobbing coming from the other line. Melody, it's your sister. Wait, more crying. I froze hearing her say something about Kelsey. What about Kelsey? Mary, what happened to her? Melody, she's dead. I gasped and cried more. My heart shattered. I got numb. Dead? No, she can't be. How? I started. She got in an accident at work. She's on the news. Next thing I knew, I had hugged up the seat, hanged up, and sat on the hotel bed crying. Another person I loved was gone. How fucking worse could this week get? I felt arms around me and someone making shh in my ear. I'm sorry. The boy I had forgotten who was still in the room, whispering and combing his fingers in my hair in a comforting way. I sobbed into his chest, tears streaming down into his black hoodie. Couldn't believe this. I had no family. I could go live with my friends, Mary and Sam, but their families weren't able to afford me. I had no money. Nothing. I'm useless. Can I go with you? I muttered into the male that was holding me. He froze, and I heard a light gasp escape his lips. It seemed he was surprised for what I could tell. He soon calmed and kissed the top of my forehead, nodding as he did. Of course, my angel. I promise that I'll protect you. With that, he stood up and helped me up. I was still crying as I looked at him with rough tears in my eyes. He held affirmed that he was watching me. As I watched him, left his hand in his to his mask, wondering what he was going to take it off. He gasped at it and both hands stopped, most likely for a moment, slowly pulling it back down to cover his face again. I was a bit disappointed, not seeing what he was hiding under the blue mask. Then he dropped his arms back while holding the right out to me. I'm guessing he was telling me to grab or reach out to his hand. I suddenly grabbed his hand grabbed mine as he pulled me towards the window. The boy turned around and looked at me, and his hands were out. I cocked an eyebrow before I realized he meant to step forward. Jumping on his back, I wrapped my arms around his neck while he grabbed hold of my legs and arms. I laid my head on his shoulders. Water was still leaking through my eyes, seeing into his hoodie again. He stepped onto the window and sill. I grew scared, realizing we were going to jump out of the window. Before jumping, he turned his head to me. By the way, my name is Jack. And he jumped. I was screaming into his shoulder, and I was holding a death's grin around his neck. The air fell by us as we were. Soon fell. I swore I was going to die, but not intending. Jack landed lightly too. I opened my eyes to see that we were standing on the grass in front of the hotel. The only light ground of us as we he ran by the hotel room behind us. I could hear Jack laugh lightly as he turned his head to me again. It's okay, I'm used to those kind of jumps. Hell, I've been through worse, clashing with Jeff because he stole my kill. I cocked an eyebrow at him. Jeff? I asked him, wondering what he was laughing about, and then he stopped laughing. Oh, you'll meet him soon. Let's head home. With that, he began running. I was holding tight again as I watched as we jumped off rooftops and alleys. I yawned, growing sleepy from crying, but now, how late it was, Jack noticed and said, "You can go to sleep. I'll tell you when we're there." I felt tears drop from my eyes as I took his offer. I laid my head against his shoulder, letting it lay away on the sideway. My eyes lids slowly closed. I slowly drift off, and the cold breeze of the night comforted me as I darted off to